But yes, I would, of course, advise, you have your accountants, you have your realtors, you have your attorneys. I'm that protection piece. You want to protect your golden egg, right?
Speaking of golden eggs, did you know that you could be a bank? Today, we're going to talk about a little known strategy that hides in life insurance that the rich have been using for over a century. And no, you don't have to wait until death or for something bad to happen to use it. Welcome to the Mom's Wealth Club podcast, where we talk about creating and multiplying our wealth. I'm Lynn Plata, and today's conversation is for every woman who's asking, how do I protect what I'm building, but also multiply it? My guest is Eve Przadka, a mom, a business owner, a real estate investor, and an insurance expert who helps women and real estate investors find the right kind of insurance to not only protect what they've built, but to help grow it. All right. This is awesome. I'm so glad because today we have a really special guest. Her name is Eve Przadka, and she is an insurance agent for every type of insurance and the kinds that you didn't even know you needed. Eve, I'm so excited to introduce you. If you could just tell us a
Thank
little
you
bit
for
about
having me.
you, where you're from, a little bit about your story.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for having me. That was a great, surprise, and I'm glad we're getting to know each other on many levels. And I'm glad, professionally, we're just full of ideas, which is amazing. So, yeah, my name is Eve. Originally I'm from Poland. My grandmother was born in Chicago, and then my family moved to Chicago when I was in high school. So I went through high school, college here in Chicago all those years and many, many years. And I started with insurance, oh my gosh, since high school. Since high school, it was actually a funny story. The State Farm agent, so my grades, and thank God it was like a good year, straight A's, straight A. He goes like, oh, I should meet her. So he offered me a job. I'm like, okay, desk job, cool, high school. But I started loving it. I started loving it. So, customers came in for all kinds of insurance, right? But State Farm was big on life insurance. So I got into learn, like, what is this life insurance about? It's like 17, 18. So I started young. Ever since, went through college, still worked at State Farm, still did life insurance, auto, home, anything. I was a State Farm kind of a world. For me, it was all about State Farm. So down the road, working for the agent, managing the agency, getting to know the clients, I started loving working with the families. Like all my clients became friends. And I love working with quality, good companies. I sleep at night. And at some point in my life, then of course I got married, started having, had two boys. And it was like a moment in my life, I'm like, okay, I had a choice. State Farm wanted me to open an agency in Glenview, very affluent area. But I'm like, I have two kids, right? So when you have an agency, you have to give your whole life to that life. You breathe State Farm, you eat State Farm. So I actually said no, and they were shocked. I was shocked, but I'm like, I want to raise my kids. I want to be there for them. I don't want to miss their life. So my customers kept coming to me for insurance. So I'm like, okay, let me open my own agency. So in 2009, I'm like, okay, I'll get good companies, choices, for my clients because I love helping them and they keep coming. Because, I always build a bond. I always do what's best for the customers. They can trust me. I'm not a salesperson. People that know me, I'm not, they're like business by the book person. I do what's best for the client. And, the companies want you to like, oh yeah, no, sell my products, my products. I'm like, you know what? I'll do what's best for my client. So that's always been my strategy. I'm never pushy, right? So I just talk to the clients, see what they need, what needs I can, fulfill, if they have fears, like how can I make them feel better? How can I protect them? And we build a plan, right? I always sit down with the client. So it's like very, very personal with me and my clients. So since then, I built my agency. It's been 14 years, but I'm transitioning more into the, financial protection. I'm very passionate about how different plans, life insurance plans, I know they sound scary. They're not. They can do so much, so much. And I see so many, as I get older, you hear more things, Unfortunately, my clients, sisters, family members, cancer, heart attack. Oh my God, family's devastated. Kids are crying. I don't know how I'll pay my mortgage. Like those stories just like really, really touch my heart as a mother. So I'm very passionate about protecting children and their well-being. So that's kind of where it led me to more, I would say, life insurance and this business. Just keep it going. I keep it going for the clients. And with all my experience, it's been many, many, many years since, my high school beginnings. I never left the industry. I'm always in it, always on top. It allowed me to live the lifestyle I like and help my clients and be there for my family. So that's where I am
I
today.
love it.
A little bit about me.
I've always been my goal too, I used to say helping
Mhm.
full-time moms create full-time incomes. And
Yes.
now we're at, okay,
Yes.
we're earning it, we're in
Hmm.
it. How do we keep it? How do we grow
Right.
it? And, at each stage of the game. That being said, I also know you're an investor of sorts. You own. So
Hmm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you own?
Yeah. So honestly, I've always been into ownership, right? Growing your wealth, building something. So I actually owned my first condo. I don't want to say I was 21 or 22, but my first condo sold it, got a lot of money. We were like the top price in the condo complex, bought a house, sold a house, bought another one. So I was always intrigued how real estate can actually make you money, right? And you can refinance, you can do so much with the equity, and it's just very exciting to me, like how you can use it. So I also bought an investment property in Florida. I love Florida. Sarasota is like where my heart is. See, I'm in Chicago, but that's like our getaway. So I decided to, and it was COVID. Nobody wanted to touch Florida. Nobody wanted to go there. I got in the car and I drove. I had a list for my realtor. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. I had a vision, like, two bathroom rental, and I wanted to do Airbnb. I've never done Airbnb. Don't know anybody that did it. I'm like, you know what? Decided I wanted to do it. It was a vision for my family to have a place to vacation and bring in money. And honestly, the income is paying for the mortgage, it's paying for renovations. We have a vacation home per se, and I love it. I love it. It's definitely a part of my small portfolio, but
I
different
love
things
that.
here and there.
And that's
Hmm.
one of the things that we want
Hmm.
here for women to know at the Moms Wealth Club, that you
Yeah.
can have, even if it's something like, I want to have a place for my family to vacation, how can I make that
Hmm.
happen? I want to make sure we're going to get into some
Hmm.
insurance stuff and some different ways to protect yourself later, but it's always
Hmm.
about what is your desire as a person?
Right.
And then how
Yes,
do we make that happen? And that's what I love about
exactly.
all of these women, all of us that get together like this,
Hmm.
that we're
Hmm.
out there to help each other grow
Yeah.
and be, have more fun, have more money, spend time with the family, do the things that
Yes.
we want to do. And so
Yes.
oftentimes people think about
Hmm.
insurance, like you are an insurance agent with such a huge heart, but there's also different kinds of plans. There's different things if we're just talking about growing our money. We can talk a little
Hmm.
bit about that. One that a type of insurance that a lot of people don't know about, they don't think about, and that is
Right. Yes, it's the indexed universal life insurance, IUL. And yes, so it's an amazing plan if you build it correct.
awesome.
Okay, so you definitely have to have an experienced agent person to talk to because in this plan you have to fund it correctly. It's a wonderful vehicle where you grow money and tax free, may I say. So
Love
I
it.
love growing the tax free retirement strategy. So the IUL can be used for like a tax-free retirement supplement, or it could be also used for like be your own bank. It accumulates cash value, has living benefits, and it's very flexible. So, but also you can put in money in there where you can take it out for investments tax free while it's still growing in the account. There's a special setup for that. So it's absolutely, investors are loving it. You can start small and it's for anybody. And like myself, I'm an immigrant, came here, learned. I don't have rich parents, grandparents, no generational wealth. So I have to kind of figure it out myself, like how to make the money, how to keep the money. So I feel it's like very important to open your mind. Don't listen to other people, right? So what I've learned throughout my life is just go with what your gut says, your heart says. So because a lot of it's like, oh, it's like, okay, you're gonna say, oh, I'm gonna talk to Eve about life insurance. Oh my God, life insurance, you don't need it. What is that for? So a lot of people have like bad opinions because they don't know about it. It can do so many wonderful things, so many wonderful things. So it builds cash value and it's tax-free cash value. So once you accumulate enough cash value, you can actually take some money out of it, tax-free, use it towards like any other investments. Once you make money on the other investments, you can put the money back and the policy is still working for you. So there's different strategies.
Wow.
Mhm.
So you said it accumulates cash value and then there's living benefits.
Living benefits is very, very exciting. So usually life insurance, people think, oh, I have to die for my family to get money, right? Or the cash value to use. Living benefits is like an added benefit. Living benefits pays out during your lifetime. So you don't have to die, nothing has to happen if you get sick, seriously sick, and these days we always hear like people, oh, my sister got cancer, or like, my brother-in-law, just had a stroke and he's young and has kids, and like who's going to support the family now? How are you going to pay for the mortgage? So living benefits would pay during your lifetime. It's a cash benefit. So for critical illness, terminal illness, chronic illness, I have one company that actually covers Alzheimer's as well.
Wow.
So in case those serious illnesses happen, your family's taken care of because you can take out cash out of your policy, out of that benefit. So types of cancer, stroke, heart attacks, serious stuff. So you get money to kind of like support yourself, pay for the mortgage. You don't have to sell off your, properties if you have investments. People's like, oh, I have all these investments, I have all this money. But why would you need to sell it right away? It's better to have a policy that will pay for it and you still keep your assets. You don't worry about it. Or if you don't have assets, you don't have income, you're not worried about who's going to pay my mortgage while I heal and my family goes through it. So
Or
it's a
does it
huge,
pay
huge
other
benefit.
expenses also? Like if you needed help around the house or you needed a nurse, to come in or
Like usually long-term plans require you to have specific help. You have to provide receipts what you're spending it on. This benefit pays you cash benefit. They don't care what you spend it on.
wow.
Nothing. It's just you just have to qualify, get the doctor's, records, what's going on, what happened, and then you get a choice. They give you maximum how much you want to take out,
Mm-hmm.
and then you spend it on whatever. They don't need receipts. You can pay it on people helping you, medication. Like a lot of people do natural healing, where health insurance doesn't cover.
Hmm.
So you can spend it on that to get better. So
Yeah,
vacation, whatever you want to do with it. Honestly, they don't, yeah, you can spend on anything.
that's
So
amazing.
that's an extra bonus.
So
Hmm.
what are all the different kinds of things? So you offer this IUL. What are some other ways that you help clients?
So we help in many ways. I'm all about protecting, right? Just in case something happens, right? And things we don't want to think about, but we know that they happen. So on top, so besides the IUL that we just talked about, which is a very, very flexible plan, and we build it with you, we offer term life insurance. So term life insurance is, I would say, like low cost protection for high death benefit and high living benefit. So usually that plan is better for protecting your assets because it doesn't have cash value, so it doesn't have the cash accumulation portion, but it has that protection in case of that, or those living benefits are much, much higher. So we do that. And of course, auto, home, business, life, umbrella, we're like a one-stop shop. So, because, we hear stories all the time, all the time. So I get passionate about, I'm like, oh my God, this plan could, have saved your family. You would have been fine financially. I love life insurance. I love that protection, also annuities, I want to keep customers' money safe. And I'm like the safe bucket, you would say, for financial, strategy. But because I've been doing auto, home, and business so long, I'm still doing it because My clients needed it. They came to me. So,
Right. I love it.
so.
Okay, so you just mentioned annuities. Can you explain, because that was always something that I couldn't quite grasp. Uh,
Mhm.
in 30, 60 seconds, tell a busy woman what annuities are and how it can benefit them.
Okay, so annuities are retirement plans, right? So in annuities, you put away money for when you're over 59 and a half. So it's money you have saved up for the later days. There's different types. There are tax deductible where you can deduct it from your income, or different type. It's like a safe bucket for your retirement. So that's money you don't touch, but you have it saved, accumulating cash, compound interest. And again, amazing product. So you don't have any cost of insurance. It's just your money making money,
And
pretty
what is an
much.
annuity? Like we understand what stocks are and bonds and stuff. Like what
Hmm.
is an annuity and how does it differ?
Yeah, so a lot of I would say 401k plans that you would have at your job, right? Their strategy is investing in stocks. So your retirement plans are at risk to go down or up based on the stock's performance. So what I like working with is indexed annuity, where you do not lose money. You have the upside potential of the market, but not the downside potential of the market. There is strategy for annuity where it's just based percentage. It's safe. It's not invested anywhere. So there's different types. So you really have to sit down with a financial professional or insurance agent like me to give you the options, because it really depends on your risk factor, how old you are. You know, the older we are, we want it safer. So there's different strategies that you can review. So yeah, so annuity is just a retirement product, but there's many different kinds. So you have to know kind of what you're getting, and that's where you discuss it with an agent or professional um, to decide where you are in life, what you're looking for, what you feel comfortable with, and we set it up for you.
Awesome. Awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
we've got everything. So people that are starting their own business. So for
Mm-hmm.
myself, especially, I'm
Yeah.
in the lending business and things like that. One of the things that we should all have as business owners is things like errors and omissions insurance and different kind of
Mm-hmm.
insurances to protect our businesses, protect our regular life from what we might be doing in
Yeah.
business. So what kind of things do people do for that?
It all depends on the type of business you have, right? If it's service, if it's professional, if you're a doctor or, contractor, it really depends. You want to have business liability insurance of some kind. So we have BOPS, which is like business property and liability. If you have an office, you have computers, you have desks, you have property. Or I insure a lot of med spas, doctors' offices, so their equipment is covered just in case something happens, there's a fire, you want to make sure your equipment is replaced. Liability in case somebody comes in, sues you, they fall down, they slip and fall, right? Then, of course, you need liability coverage in case they sue you. And, in America, as you know, it's very common.
It's actually
So,
a career. It's suing other
I
people.
know.
It's kind of a career choice for some.
It is. It's like people are looking for something where, they can sue you. So you definitely want to be protected. So your
So
business is protected, and then your personal, that's the structure of like how your business is structured, so you separate your personal, of course, so that they don't go after your home and, personal property. But for business, sometimes we do umbrellas on top of it, if there's like a high risk. We do up to, $5, $10 million umbrellas on businesses. Errors and omissions is another thing, right? It depends if you're in consulting or any type where, you give them a bad advice, you want to be protected. They're like, oh, you told me something else. So there's different types. If you have employees, um, I think it depends what state. I think Illinois is like if you have two or more, you need to have workers' compensation if they get hurt on the job. There's work comp. So bigger corporations, of course, but like small businesses, like what we have, the more employees we get, we got to think about it too. So yeah. And what I love also is the life insurance for the key person. Somebody like running your business, managing it for you, doing everything. Oh my God, God forbid something happens to them, takes you forever to replace them.
so would you get paid? Like, do you have it set up where how does that work? Like so many things just came in my head. So you're
Okay.
person, something happens
Mm-hmm.
catastrophically, and so they're gone, your
Right,
business can stop. You no longer have income. Like,
right,
how do you work with something
right.
like that?
Right. So for those people, if you have, of course, we want to cover ourselves, right, as business owners, and sometimes we do set up separate life policies just for the business as the beneficiary. So
Mhm.
somehow somebody can step in and learn. In the meantime, they have some money to keep it going. For the key person, the employer, like let's say I have my office manager, she does everything for me. Um, I'm the owner, she's the insured. Beneficiary is the business, right? So then the business would get money. So I have money to kind of hire somebody, train somebody, and we're losing income, but we have this covered. So
Wow.
it helps the business owner to kind of keep the business going because without those key people, sometimes we're lost, right? Or if we're not involved in day-to-day operations. So yeah, there's many, many ways to protect
That's why
ourselves.
it's great to have somebody like you
Hmm.
in your corner as you're just not, I mean, even sometimes for stay-at-home moms, we're the CEOs of the family sometime, right? So you
Of
might have your
course.
husband out there as the one, the income earner, and you might not feel like you need to know any of this, but you are legit the
Yeah,
CEO of your family. And so
we
knowing
are.
what would happen in different situations. So coming
Hmm.
back, there are a lot of investors in the audience and own a lot of
Hmm.
rental real estate. And
Okay.
so there's different ways to protect yourself, your family, and that kind of things. I mean, assuming most of us have
Yes.
our properties set up in LLCs and somewhat separated from us, but there's a lot of things to think about. And I'm talking about just the owner and then their tenant.
Hmm.
We'll get into some different strategies later, some creative things and wraps, and
Hmm.
I really want to talk about some of that stuff. But just the typical person that owns, a few single families or a couple of multi-units or something like that. How
Hmm.
do they set themselves up to as part of the like really, really important part of just having the
Hmm.
business itself?
Right. So it depends like what kind of protection you're looking for, right? Of course, we know, and any investor knows you need to ensure the property itself, right? In case you are sued for any reason or something happens to the home. So that's, familiar. But also, and if you own it outright, that's fine. If you have a mortgage, definitely get a higher, at least those term policies, life policies. They're the lower cost but high death benefit. I usually advise we work on the numbers, how much, right, everybody needs to have to be protected, but have at least the amount that you don't have to sell. So yeah, and when you have a lot of properties, I would also like get a good umbrella policy on top of it all, because usually the home is up to 300,000, right? One home of liability insurance. But if somebody sues you and you have properties worth a couple $1 million, that's when the good umbrella policy comes in too. So definitely good term life, high living benefits, and a good umbrella policy on top of the buildings.
Yeah, and when a lot of the people in the audience also do a lot of
Hmm.
creative deals. In the creative world, there's people that will buy a property subject to
Hmm.
or buy it seller finance, and then they
Hmm.
turn around and wrap that to an end buyer. And then if
Hmm.
if me, let's say I purchase a property from somebody else and they have a mortgage with Chase. I'm paying that
Hmm.
mortgage every month. I wrap my mortgage, sell it to an end buyer. That end buyer is now paying me and then I'm paying Chase, right? I've wrapped that
Hmm.
mortgage. And then I pass away. How do I protect that end buyer? Making sure that that end buyer doesn't lose the property because I'm not here that like they have no connection to Chase Bank or they if it's a seller
Right.
finance they have no connection to
Yeah.
Smith. So
Right. Hmm.
how do we
So
do something for that?
yes, right. So there's a lot of different things what I would handle. So it's very important to have like a proper, that's something you would do with an attorney to have like a proper, I advise like a good trust, set up where in that trust you have directions on how it's going to be handled, right? So then you have that attorney write down like, okay, these are the transactions, this is the bank account the money's going into. So whatever the business account that you have the money in is protected, right? So it gets money right away. So to make it easy, when you have the life insurance set up, you make that trust the beneficiary, and then all the money goes to that trust and then the attorney has all the directions on how the money is handled.
Okay, so so the trust could either just go pay off the mortgages if there was enough to handle it, or
Right. It can do whatever.
the trust could then just with the executor or with
Hmm.
the trustee would then
Hmm.
kind of step up into the role and say, okay, every month and
Exactly.
buyer is still going to be paying in to the trust,
Hmm.
and then this trust would then continue to pay Chase if you didn't have enough money in your death benefits to cover the entire amount.
Hmm.
Ideally, it would
Right.
just be covered. And
Right. Yeah. Oh, so we're hoping when we do it, it's like I don't ask how much right now you're handling, but what's the potential?
Mhm.
Potentially, like how much do you think you'll be handling? So ideally, we want to get the insurance for the top potential.
That was one thing that as I walked into the world of creative real estate, we're always worried
Hmm.
about finding the sellers, finding the buyers,
Yeah.
making sure everybody's taken care of. But that was a key component of what
Yeah.
if something happens and you're in the middle of this. That really wasn't addressed a lot. That was a missing link. So
That's why I'm here.
I know there's so
To,
much
you know.
value to what
Hmm.
sitting down with you brings to the table because
Thank
these
you.
things that you wouldn't have thought about. And a lot of
Hmm.
times people think, well, I don't make enough money, or I'm not there yet. Or what do you say to the people that say, well, I'm not ready to talk to Eve because you know what, I'm just not there yet. We're going to make a lot of money someday, but right now we've got one rental property. We don't really have anything else. We've got a couple cars, but I don't really need to plan for, having all of these umbrella policies and this and that. I'm not there yet.
Right. So yeah, exactly. If you don't have it yet, those extra umbrella policies may not be necessary yet, right? Those we can get anytime. As far as the life insurance protection, like your financial protection, what if happens to me? Uh, Again, we base it on your budget, your need, what can you do? And those policies, people are shocked when I tell them they're not that expensive, but you do have to qualify. So I tell people, don't wait. Don't wait. The younger you are, the healthier you are, the less expensive it is. The older we are, more health problems, the more expensive it is, right? And I have people that have nothing, single mothers, renting, but they're like, we need coverage because if something happens to me, I don't have a lot of family, my ex is not helping me, I'm horrified. Like, what if something happens to me? My kids will be on the streets, right? So we can get just a small policy. It doesn't have to be millions of dollars. It could be $100,000 term policy. It could be $50 a month. So we can build any plan that works for you. So you can talk to me regardless. You're
That's
just starting out, you have a lot of money. There's always something we can adjust. And you can always buy more insurance once you grow, so you can start small and you can always grow it. You can get extra policies. So I always say, talk to me. We'll figure it out. We'll get a small plan to get you started, just so you have something. Something. I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what you get, just get something because it will save your financial future and you'll sleep at night better. So I have a lot of single mothers that I work with, and they're amazing because they see the risk
mhm,
and they don't care. It's like, no, I'm getting this. So I advise everybody just have a talk. It doesn't cost anything
mhm.
to check, what your options are. And for, anybody listening, of course, I'll offer free consultations. Just talk to me. We'll go over your situation. I can advise you what to do, and then you take it, and you decide.
That's perfect. And we'll put your information in the show notes and we'll
Great.
say what it is here because to offer that like free planning
Mm-hmm.
session is really generous of you. I know you're super busy. So if somebody is
Mm-hmm.
just kind of getting started in real estate and real estate investing, probably one of
Mm-hmm.
the first people that they should talk with would be you, right? Because you can plan out, all right, so you want to start with one property. What are your plans for growth and how can you make sure that you're
Mhm.
covered in all aspects of your life, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yes, I would, of course, advise, you have your accountants, you have your realtors, you have your attorneys. I'm that protection piece. You want to protect your golden egg, right? You grow, your book of business, you grow your properties, you grow your value, net worth. You don't want to lose it due to death or sickness. You want to have a protection plan in place just in case anything happens so you don't lose everything you've worked so hard for. Yeah, definitely very important.
One more quick question
Sure.
before we go today. What's one piece of advice that I know there's silly one piece of advice questions, but what's one piece of advice
No.
that you would give to somebody starting out in business or investing when it comes to insurance?
Do not think it's too expensive to protect yourself. But a lot of people, they think, oh, I don't have money for insurance. I don't want to think about insurance. This is the last thing on my mind. But really, it should be almost one of the first things because so many things can go wrong. I would never think that. I'm very positive. I never think anything can go wrong, but things can. So you definitely want to protect everything from the start. So just sit down with somebody, check your options, and you may be surprised to find out you can afford it. And it's how important it is and how easy you can lose your business that we don't realize. So definitely don't skip the insurance part. It's very
Eve, I
important.
know that you would be one that I would
Hmm.
talk to. I'm talking to you
I
and
appreciate it.
I appreciate
Hmm.
everything that you do. So, and then to
You're great.
offer a free
Hmm.
planning session with you for
Yeah,
all of the audience here is very
I'll be
generous,
glad to.
and people should definitely take advantage of that. So, thank you so
Thank
much for your time.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
This
And
was
I'm more than happy to help anybody in your audience because I know it's a very smart group of women. So I'm very excited.
me too. Thanks so
Thank
much, Eve.
you.
That was great. So I hope today's conversation opened your eyes to how powerful the right insurance plan could be, not just to protect your wealth, but to help you grow it. If you'd like to connect with Eve for a free, no pressure planning session, check the show description and get her contact information. And if you'd like this episode, be sure to follow and share the Mom's Wealth Club podcast. We're just getting started. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, a wise woman will prosper. So buy the field, plant the vineyard, and watch it multiply.